have gotten together. The ACC against the CAA. Sit back and enjoy this one. Road defeats in conference play for both teams their last time out. For the Tar Heels, it was their first loss of the season. An absolutely wild, nutty 3-2 game at Clemson. Martin Vician gave the Tar Heels the early lead in the first half. Clemson would equalize by halftime on a free kick from just outside of the box. And then into the second half, Carlos Samuano's team saw Clemson pick up a red card. So the Tigers were playing a man down. Clemson would draw a PK that they converted in the 84th minute, only to see the Tar Heels answer back with a PK of their own in the 86th minute to equalize at 2. And then Clemson scored a game winner 1 minute later in the 87th, and the Tigers won in 3-2. Just a wild affair in the upstate of South Carolina on Friday night. A lot of congestion in the box.
Here we're seeing the Cougars already on their front foot. They're looking to press into this attacking half and surround with numbers.
Keith Wiggins and his team coming out aggressive. Coach Wiggins, year 5 as the head man in the Charleston soccer program, but longtime assistant to Ralph Lundy, the man for whom the field that Charleston plays its home games on is named after. Cougars 2-1 defeat against UNCW on the road on Saturday. CAA action. Cougars team that began the year 6-0. Since then, just 1 win, 1 draw, 3 defeats in their last 5. So the Cougars are kind of a fringe team in the at-large discussion right now. Obviously, a win tonight would push that forward. If North Carolina is to come up with a victory tonight over College of Charleston, it would likely mean that the Cougars would need to win the CAA tournament in order to reach the NCAAs.
I'm a fan of the CAA, and I love watching their teams play because they're ambitious and they're hungry, and they play with that grit that they're going to need in games like this against ACC teams that are really organized.
North Carolina will see that composure and that grit that the CAA teams provide back-to-back Tuesdays. Hosting Charleston tonight, they'll be on the road in Williamsburg, Virginia to see William and Mary next Tuesday. Ollie Marshall is in goal for College of Charleston. He's a junior from Newcastle, England. Was not projected to be the starting keeper early on in the season. Charlie Dusky, who's a sophomore from Kansas, earned the start in the opener, suffered an injury in the 6th minute against Coastal Carolina. Since then, it's been Marshall's job. He has starting experience over the last couple of years. He's kind of steadied things for Coach Wiggins and the Cougars back there. Marshall and College of Charleston earned the win in that season opener, en route to a 6-0 start. Racked up the goals as they scored at least 3 goals in each of their first 3 games this year. It's a big reason why their scoring offense is still tops in the CAA. Here's Luke Hilly on the ball for the Tar Heels. Hilly dropping it back for Parker O'Farrell, who enters the starting 11 for just the 3rd time this year for North Carolina, 21 in white. Scored off the bench against California a couple of weeks ago. Sam Williams chips it for Tate Johnson, an overlapping run down the end line. His cross to the top of the 6, headed out of danger by the West Virginia transfer Noah Gold. Now the Cougars quickly on the counter. Here is D'Ambrosio. 8 goals this year. We mentioned Charleston's offensive success, Brianna, and when we talked to Keith Wiggins before the game, he said, "You're not going to believe this, but we didn't score at all in exhibition play. And then we have our season opener against Coastal Carolina, and we're down 2-0. And then, in a span of 19 minutes in the second half, they score 4 times." And he said the confidence that came from that stretch just followed them for the next several weeks.
I think it's about getting that first goal that gives you the confidence to head into the rest of the season where, you're on your front foot, things are clicking. And for the Cougars, they have a number of players that are talented in and around the box that work well together and know where they're going to be because it allows them to set each other up for success.
Down the left flank, Riley Thomas for Carolina. Foul called. A lot of fouls in North Carolina's game Friday night against Clemson. 35 of them combined, 16 on North Carolina, 19 on Clemson. In that ACC championship game rematch.
In this match tonight, one of the interesting things I'm seeing about the tempo is Carolina likes to play relaxed style, super organized in and around the ball. So for College of Charleston, they're going to have to speed up the play, make Carolina uncomfortable in possession. And I think they're going to start by doing that and raising the tempo of this game early on.
We've seen Carolina men's soccer through the years. You know, Carlos Simwano likes to play a possession style, likes to very solid build up to create opportunities. Cougars doing well to own time on the ball, though, in the early going.
We're seeing a lot of interchange between their wing backs and their wide forwards, doing a good job of making sure they're on opposite lines. So if you're on the flank, you need someone interior option so that you can find the proper angles to combine.
And the Cougars, we told you start out in a 4-4-2. That's when they're not in possession. But as you alluded to, Browna, when College of Charleston has the ball, there is a lot of interchange. It's a very fluid offensive system for Keith Wiggins' team.
Yeah, in possession, we're seeing more of a 3-2-2-3 where their wingbacks will invert up the field. It allows them to get more numbers centrally. As for Carolina, this may be an opportunity for them to catch the Cougars in transition because there will be space on the flanks that maybe Tate Johnson could exploit or Parker O'Farrell on the other side. So it'll be interesting to see how these matchups go on throughout the game.
Saw a great run from James Barrett, transfer from Radford, who got back to cut off the angle for Luke Hilly and then sent the ball out off Hilly for a Charleston goal kick. There's Leonard, the goal scorer on Saturday, 11 in red. Bad touch, middle of the park, leads to a turnover. Andrew Check taken back, through ball into space. Leonard trying to get the corner turned on Parker O'Farrell. Into the box it goes. That was Ezra White who couldn't connect with Hogan Walker. 8 assists this season for Ezra White. Keith Wiggins says did a lot off the ball last year and now has kind of morphed himself into a role of setting guys up.
I think it's such a great quality as a midfielder because when you have all those assists, you learn the texture of the balls needed to play through balls to your forwards. And if you have someone who can create those quality chances in the middle of the park, it allows the forwards to do what they do best by scoring goals.
Got to look a couple of moments ago at Andrew Cordes, the goalkeeper for the Tar Heels. Became Carolina's regular starter about a third of the way through last season. And in that entire span had not conceded 3 goals in a game until he gave up 3 on Friday against Clemson. Not all of his own doing, of course, but certainly a performance that is very uncharacteristic for the North Carolina team defensively. Checks cross, knocked away, Vician. Johnson takes a look, and Tate Johnson finds the back of the net. The first collegiate goal for the freshman.
What exceptional build-up play from Carolina. This moment starts with Andrew Check just underlapping on that right-hand side. He gets in behind, and you see a little bit of this hesitation to create the separation to serve in across. Vician isn't able to play it, but Tate Johnson's in the right place at the right time and strikes it cleanly to the far post. Just an excellent technique because he hits the top half of the ball, and there's nothing the goalkeeper can do about that one.
So North Carolina strikes on a goal from the outside back. Tate Johnson, first of his collegiate career, freshman from Tampa, Florida. And he scores in the 9th minute of this game. And Brownie, you mentioned a couple of minutes ago that there was the possibility for Tate Johnson to get involved on the offensive end in transition. Right on cue, we see it early on in this game.
It's hard to track those runs that come from deep, and obviously he was on the weak side, and if you don't have a runner that's going to clog that space on the back post, then you're left open to have a shot, and Tate Johnson made no mistake.
Johnson previously had an assist earlier this year against St. John's. That was his first collegiate points. Now his first collegiate goal, a special moment coming in the opening minutes of this game.
In soccer, we call it big 5 moments. What happens in the next 5 minutes after a goal is scored? So here's an opportunity for College of Charleston to respond well, to defend as a unit, and then reestablish the possession that they had earlier.
A lot happened in the 5 minutes after goals were scored late in North Carolina's game on Friday, I will add.
But it comes down to discipline for both teams. So if you score, can you continue pushing for that momentum in favor of your team? And if you get scored on, can you close the lines, ensure that you're compact defensively so that you don't concede any more quality looks on goal?
Riley Thomas, the captain for the Tar Heels, Georgia native, 5th and final season of eligibility for him. Check and Hilly with it. Cafaro, Juan Cafaro, 10 in white.
So we're seeing a 3v2 on the flank. I'd be interested to see College of Charleston really pack that side of the field and make it predictable so Carolina isn't able to change the point.
Do change the point of attack. Back heel flick from Vician, trying to connect with Johnson again.
Because they have so many numbers centrally, by forcing it to the flank, it makes it so much easier to defend as a unit because it forces them, Carolina, to avoid that oncoming pressure and break the press.
Tom Wilson for the throw in here for the Cougars. Another England native, senior from Carlisle, England. Rosio couldn't keep that. It's another throw in for Tate Johnson in Carolina. Sam Williams. Keith Wiggins said he knew his team wouldn't have much of the ball against a team like North Carolina that possesses so well. Charleston's gone into this compact shape and letting the Tar Heels possess in these moments after the goal.
Just a good bit of defending there from Tom Wilson, just to see the ball out, ensure that he protects the trajectory of it, because Tate Johnson was there again, looking to get on the back shoulder.
Cougars conceded first Saturday against UNCW, equalized that game, as Brown told you right off the top. Only to see the Seahawks have an answer 11 minutes later in the 67th, take the 2-1 win. So even with the hot start at 6-0 this year, Cougars have only enjoyed one victory since September the 14th. But now they're kind of at a spot in their season, right, where you see, okay, 6 regular season games left for College of Charleston. They started 6-0, and then this next 5 has been a roller coaster ride up and down. 6 games left. A win tonight, if they're able to now come back and earn the victory on the road, that sets the tone for a hot finish. And you can kind of look at the middle of the season as a bump rather than a downturn.
Non-conference games have huge implications for postseason, and for College of Charleston, their goal is making the NCAA tournament, and they're in a very competitive conference where they have to win the tournament. And for a team like this, coming into a game like against Carolina, they are putting up to the test that they're going to need in postseason that will allow them to have success.
Here's Hilly, a long distance rip just to the wide side of the post. Charleston was incensed about a no call on what they thought was a handball through the midfield. Carolina ended up getting a shot attempt there. It did go out off of the Cougar goalkeeper Marshall, so it is a North Carolina corner kick. Just 2 corners Friday against the Tigers, a season low for Carolina. Swinging ball. First contact by Charleston. Matthew Acosta gets to it for North Carolina. Thomas, nice one for Acosta. Acosta has some space down the end line. Across the goal mouth, no one was there. Brianna, to your point about non-conference play, Keith Wiggins said the most important games for his team are the Saturday games in conference play. But yet, they were so excited to come on the road, take on a team like North Carolina. Last year, they played a game on the road against Duke that they led at one point 2-1, only to see the Blue Devils come back and score a pair in the final 10 minutes of the game to take a 3-2 win. So some of the returning players on this roster certainly remember that night in Durham.
When you have an experienced team, you can take those games and learn over the course of 4 years. And, remembering what it's like to come to these ACC opponents and, try and get a win is something that'll help them from year to year. So, again, a beautiful stadium, wonderful opportunity to compete against the Tar Heels.
Carolina keeping up the pressure and possession here. Out wide, it's Hilly. Hilly jitterbugs inside, crosses in. Acosta. Nice job by White to step in, win that ball out of the air. White with it. White. This is Chris Cushing, a Winthrop transfer, 26 in red. D'Ambrosio. Charleston sustaining some possession here. Only to see Cushing slip. Vician take it away. A nice job. That was Barrett that stepped in for the dispossession.
Carolina is doing a great job in their countermeasures and their rest defense. What that means is they're positioning players underneath the ball so that if they lose it, they can win it back right again. There's Charlie Harper just a few minutes ago. Stepped in, chests it to Acosta, and they restart their build.
Seeing a very composed and collected North Carolina team here tonight as Johnson whistles across. Acosta bends it for Johnson. His header into space. No one there in White. Harper, bottom right of your screen, 18 in White. Brown I talked about a moment ago.
It just shows such experienced positioning underneath the ball. He provides depth for Carolina, so if they need to reset the ball, they can go backwards and reset the game. And it allows them to change the point. It draws College of Charleston out, and it creates spaces in the midfield for them to exploit.
Vician turns, shoots. It was knocked away off the foot of Marshall.
What an excellent save by Marshall just to extend his foot and get something on it, because Vician was going for the back post on that shot.
Almost a similar looking shot to what Tate Johnson took for the game's first goal.
Most definitely. I think he was able to adjust his positioning so that he could get his feet ready for such a quick shot.
Vician with his 7 goals this season. Leads North Carolina as a team. 3 of them are game winners. That's tops in the ACC. And a brace in 8 seconds earlier this year against Florida International.
We saw Vician posting up and showing like that kind of like hold-up play. He uses his frame and he's able to spin the defender and get a shot on. So for Ben Baldwin, he's got a big task tonight just to force him backwards and keep the ball outside the box when possible.
That frame is a pretty big one, 6'4", 180. And now Marshall is gone down. Massaging his lower leg area. Seems to be indicating that he has a cramp. 4 years in the Newcastle Academy for Marshall. Now the training staff will come out and check on the junior. North Carolina took the 1-0 lead in the 9th minute off a goal from Tate Johnson, first of his college career. The Tar Heels, ever since, have held the majority of the possession. They lead shots 5-0, shots on goal 3-0. There's Johnson, played with the Tampa Bay Rowdies on an academy contract in 2023. And Johnson's just waiting for some instruction on how to restart play here. The answer is to throw it. Ball was out. Nice tackle from Ezra White. See if the Cougars can build something with this. Hogan Walker, 18 in red. Vician stepped into the lane. Cushing. D'Ambrosio, 3 white jerseys around him. He'll switch the point of attack for Leonard.
Excellent foot skills from D'Ambrosio just to avoid that pressure there and switch the point.
He had 3 defenders on him and had the IQ to flip that around.
I think he knows the space around him, and he does such a good job of checking his shoulder and figuring out where he's going to take his first touch so that he can ultimately get out of a tight situation.
Free kick for the Cougars. So, Brianna, if you are College of Charleston, trying to find your equalizer here after conceding so early in this game and not being able to enjoy much time on the ball, what do you have to do? What do you have to adjust?
I think when they win it, can they secure the first pass and then advance in numbers? They did such a good job in the opening minutes of surrounding themselves in numbers so that they can build together. Another thing that I'm noticing is just the overload on the left-hand flank. That's where Tate Johnson has been able to take advantage of the space there. So I'd like to see some backtracking from the midfielders just to close that space to make it more difficult for Carolina to attack the left side.
And you'll look up and it feels like Tate Johnson is all the way up there on his overlapping run with the forward line every time the ball goes down near Carolina's offensive attacking box.
That's like an outside back's dream when they get up the field and be involved in the attack, because they're essentially becoming an engine. They get to do it all: defend, attack.
Covering a lot of miles out there, but
you have to be super fit and you have to be incredibly disciplined in your positioning off the ball as well.
Tar Heels working up the right side, given away. Here's Chris Elliott, former Rookie of the Year in the CAA, 9 in red. Won that award in 2022. All the way back to Marshall as Vician applies the pressure. Marshall way out of his box. Ben Baldwin now. D'Ambrosio quickly into space for White. White has a step on Johnson. Plays it forward for Elliott. Elliott inside the box. Elliott keeps possession. Elliott takes a shot. It's a low roller right to Cordes.
Elliott does a wonderful job to make the most out of an unlikely opportunity. I think it was a great ball from Ezra White in behind. You can see the texture. It's right into the path of Elliott. However, when he takes takes his touch and picks his head up, there's only one runner in the box, and it's 1v5. So I think for College of Charleston is when they get in the attacking third, can they get runners that are committed to making that hard run in the box?
Someone making a run from the other side of the field to enable Elliott to get off a cross right there would have completely changed the complexity of that attack.
Most definitely, because as a forward, you're looking, do I have an option? Should I shoot? But because there wasn't anybody that was readily available, why not shoot?
At least test Cordes, record his team's first shot of the game. North Carolina's held every opponent under 10 shots this season. Clemson took just 5 of them Friday. Still a 3-2 win for the Tigers for North Carolina's first defeat of the season. Costa steps in. Physical play. And the foul is committed there by Chris Cushing.
Cushing's been dispossessed a few times here in the midfield. I think it's just about taking those tidy touches, keeping it close to your body, and playing in a 1-2 touch rhythm. It'll allow Charleston to establish just a better rhythm in possession.
Chris Cushing wearing the captain's armbands. Father Patrick played at Charlotte in college. Very strong program traditionally. Juan Cafaro bounces to Hilly. Hilly moving forward. Luke Hilly, shot stopped by Marshall. Rebound scored. It's Vician, his 8th of the year. Marshall made one stop. He could not make a second.
Excellent feet from Luke Hilly to drive inside. He gets the ball again and has such quick feet. Gets a shot off that Ollie Marshall does such a wonderful job just chesting down, but unfortunately it's parried right to the feet of Vician, who puts it home for the second goal for the Tar Heels.
Martine Vician scoring in back-to-back games.
As a goalkeeper, you're really trying to make yourself big and get anything on the ball to keep it out of the net, but I think in that moment, can the defenders seal off the goal and prevent Vician from getting another shot on the rebound?
In that situation with Vician and where he was as that ball bounced back off of Marshall, is that a case of right place, right time due to luck, or is that he knew to time himself up to stay at that spot to be able to collect a second ball like that?
I'd say that because Hilly was driving inside centrally, you want to be an option just in case he decides not to shoot it. So he's peeled off a little bit to the outside of the goal. But I think the save attempt from Marshall was a little bit unlucky, and Vician was fortunate to be in the right place at the right time. And again, it's about putting it away on that first touch, because if he takes a touch there, it gives Marshall another chance to reset his feet and try and save it.
So Martine Vician with goal number 8. First time he's scored in back-to-back games in a while, since the FIU and ETSU games. Those were both games he had braces in. It was late August, early September, so just over a month since Vician scored in back-to-back. Couple of subs coming in here for North Carolina. Jamison Charles, who had started the last 4 games for the Tar Heels, comes off the bench tonight. He'll replace Juan Cafaro. Graduate student from Minneapolis, originally from Haiti, replaces Cafaro. And Patil Hansen, the freshman from Denmark, is in for Hilly. So Hansen and Charles into the proceedings for Carlos Simoano's team. Is Johnson involved once again on the attack? Tom Wilson sent it away for the Cougars. Williams to take this corner for the Tar Heels. Their second corner of the night. Second ball to Johnson. Johnson stepping in, bends it, far post. Thomas got a head on it, sailed it over the bar.
Just as the ball was cleared outside the box on the initial attempt on the corner, you're hearing them yell aggressively, step, 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 but it's that back post run that you really have to account for, because as you step as a unit, are you dropping again for that second service?
Riley Thomas has been stuck on one career goal since one of the first games of his career in March of 2021 against Virginia. That was when there was the split season due to the pandemic, his freshman year. Obviously, as a defender, he most often is involved in scoring opportunities on set pieces. So, tough to add to that total, but it's been there for a while. Nearly doubled the career goal total right there. Johnson on the ground. Parker O'Farrell switches for the speedy Batil Hansen. Strides to it along the end line. Cross headed down. Vician was looking for another one. Couldn't strike it cleanly with the noggin. Right to Ale Marshall.
I really like that cross from Batil Hansen. Just how it's whipped into the head of Vician. I think he could have done a little bit better on that header attempt, but usually when you receive service like that, you want to head it down and across the frame.
Been impressed, Brianna, with how aggressive North Carolina is staying even after going up a couple of goals here.
I definitely think they're learning from last game. You know, can you put games away early? Can you score several goals? Because it gives you control of the game and it allows you to do what they do best, which is relax in possession, because when they have the ball, they're really hard to dispossess.
Not only last game against Clemson, but also the last time the Tar Heels had one of these midweek games against a non-conference opponent on this field. It was against Mercer a couple weeks ago. Sam Williams takes a shot, sails it high, and that was a scoreless draw where Carlos Simano said after the game that his team was just kind of flat and out of rhythm all night. So being able to play with energy and focus in one of these games, a non-conference home matchup, that's a positive sign for the Tar Heels. Cougars making a couple of subs here. We saw Adil Aygut, the well-traveled graduate student from Germany, come into the game. Also, Stian Benvold, freshman from Norway. Aygut, who just came in, he's made 4 starts this year. Charleston is his 3rd school. He spent a year at UConn in 2023. Began his college career at the University of Maine, Fort Kent, which competes in the United States Collegiate Athletic Association. So not part of the NCAA. But Maine Fort Kent is the northernmost 4-year academic institution of higher learning in the lower 48 states, right on the Canadian border, far northern Maine. It's way up there.
They say soccer's a global game, and Adil Aygut is well-traveled.
Has Moroccan heritage. He's a German native who spent 2 years on the Canadian border, then on to Storrs, Connecticut, and now a place that's much warmer and much sunnier, Charleston, South Carolina.
As a player, that's actually my favorite part about the sport, just getting to meet people from all over the world who have a common love and passion for this game. And you learn so much about yourself and the people around you, and you get to be in a team environment that celebrates culture from everywhere.
Just outside the box, perhaps something brewing here for Charleston. Cross is blocked. Benvold, the substitute. And Cortez gathers it up. Yeah, I imagine that's pretty cool, Brianna, because you played obviously at the college level and the professional level, and you get to interact with players who have come from all corners of the country and all corners of the globe, but all come together for one reason, and everyone's background is different, and soccer in particular is such a global game, as you said.
And you get to pursue an education. That's the beautiful thing about collegiate athletics. You're living the best of both worlds, where you're playing the game you love and learning and growing as a human being as well.
Third corner of the game for North Carolina. Tar Heel team that's up by a pair after Tate Johnson's goal in the 9th minute, Martin Vician's goal in the 24th. Sam Williams over the ball. Struck to Harper and right to Marshall. Into the middle, Check takes it away.
I mentioned defensively for College of Charleston, making it predictable by forcing it to one side, but you saw that exact types of defensive strategy from Carolina. When picked up his head, he sees 4 white jerseys and unfortunately squares it centrally to Carolina.
A player that was Mikey Saunders, who also subbed into the game for the Cougars. Saunders had started 4 contests on the year, including the most recent one. England native, who's a transfer from Belmont in the Missouri Valley Conference. Ball on Acosta, free kick for the Cougars. Despite the transfers and players coming from all over the globe to come play for College of Charleston, Keith Wiggins is very proud of the culture that his program has built through the years, and he's obviously been such a huge part of it. A player himself at College of Charleston, 3-year starter as a goalkeeper for the Cougars, and longtime assistant, 11 years under Ralph Lundy, handed the reins of the program when Lundy retired. His first season was the spring pandemic season. So he's been building since. The goal this year is postseason play. Cougars got off to such a good start at 6-0 this year. Trying to accrue the requisite points in the CAA to qualify for the conference tournament. But when they get to that conference tournament, if they do, it is not going to be easy. Hansen into the box. Check. All the way back for Charlie Harper. Tar Heels reset things. Just ask North Carolina how competitive and challenging the CAA is, as the Tar Heels ran into Hofstra last year in the NCAA round of 16. Needed PKs to get past the Pride. Out it goes for another Carolina corner. Sam Williams ready to take the corner. Harper struck it cleanly. 2 straight set pieces that have gone to Charlie Harper, and he's been able to take a crack on goal.
That was a set piece that was clearly drawn out for Charlie Harper. There were some near post runs that dragged the College of Charleston defenders toward the near post, and it was Harper that peeled off to the back post to get that free header.
1 goal this season for Harper. It came on a set piece against ETSU back on September 2nd. Program culture for College of Charleston was on full display earlier this year in early September, as they held a banquet celebrating this season, the 50th year of their program. 300 alumni came to the banquet and the anniversary celebration game, a game that they won. Makes matters even more sweeter.
Coach Wiggins just mentioned how special it was for their current team to see how tight-knit their alumni base is, and it says a lot about their culture because they have a beautiful campus that everyone wants to return to.
Beautiful campus right there in downtown Charleston. The soccer facility is over at Patriots Point, just across the bridge in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. It's where the Charleston Battery play as well. Coach Wiggins joked with us and said, I haven't left. It's too beautiful. White touches it back. Noah Gold, West Virginia transfer. Gold's father, Elijah, played for the United States national men's deaf soccer team. Ezra White. 4 Tar Heels around him. Saunders. Saunders. Saunders taken down, play on. Nothing doing there for the Cougars. Had a chance to launch off a cross, unable to do so, and now here comes North Carolina on the counter.
We've only seen bits and pieces of Ezra White here in this first half, and as a midfielder that wants to be involved in the game, I'd be curious to see him drop deeper just to get on the ball, to get those touches, because again, this attack runs through him, and by having him on the ball, it will allow them to get the ball to the flank and create some overloads as well.
Browner would know a thing or two about an attack running through a player who wears number 8.
It's the best number, in my opinion.
Why'd you pick it?
I wanted to be like Andres Iniesta. He was
Just
my
announced
favorite
his
player.
retirement.
He was my favorite player growing up, and he was the master of time and space. And I just love how he always had his head on the swivel. He was able to get out of the tightest spaces on the field, and he created and scored goals, and it was a beautiful thing to watch.
I don't think I had ever asked you that before. That's fascinating to find out. Saw Milton Jones come in for the Tar Heels. He's played off the bench the last couple of games. White again. Saunders. Saunders this time does get off a cross. It's a high looper that'll sail out of play and a Carolina goal kick.
Just a little bit of a hopeful service there from Saunders. I think he's good on the dribble, so I'd love to see him drive inside and try and win that end line space to look for a cutback.
Tar Heels took the first 5 shots of this game before College Charleston could record 1. That shot number is just indicative of how possession has gone in this first 45. North Carolina coming off their first loss of the season. Has come out hungry tonight. Has come out energized. Charleston trying to pull one back, though, before halftime. Wilson. Thomas looking upfield as Jones the substitute. Charles. Milton Jones, 2 defenders on him. Plays it back for Charles. Third one before the intermission here would be absolutely devastating for the Cougars' hopes. Hansen, a looper, headed by Johnson. Vician trying to turn. Jones had a lane perhaps for a long one. And Check and Hansen just can't get on the same page.
Carolina's being very patient in their build and in the attack. I like how they're taking their time with changing the point, because it forces College of Charleston to continue to shift as a unit. But it opens up spaces as this first half wears on, because fatigue starts to set in.
Check again with speed. Nice job right there. That was Barrett who stepped in. Check returns the favor. Aggressive play with Hansen and Gold. What are the challenges defensively when your opponent has so much time on the ball?
I'd say that you can't run out in the press.
Hansen nearly had a deep takeaway.
To finish that thought, I think you can't run out in the press. Like, you have to go as a unit. So if one person sprints out but everybody else doesn't step with the same speed and efficiency, then it opens up gaps for Carolina to exploit. So I think for College of Charleston, they've got to be patient, because obviously Carolina is good on the ball. But if they really condense that space in between their lines and tackle with conviction, I think that's been a little bit missing tonight, just that bite. I think that will help them just secure possession again, going the other way.
Williams. Charles back into space for Jones. There's the Cougars winning it back. D'Ambrosio. About 80 seconds of this first half. And that's Jones. Is down on all fours for the Tar Heels.
Calling for a substitution. Looks like he must be pretty hurt.
Samuano calling upon Jones off the bench the last couple of games. First 2 appearances of his college career. Freshman from New Jersey.
It's good to get minutes as a freshman, especially in such an experienced Carolina team. Milton Jones has shown good pieces tonight, just his composure on the ball, the little bit of deception he has on the dribble.
Let's try and see what happened here. Oh, I think he took a knee to the face. Did you see that?
Yeah. Never feels good, because he's scrambling to secure possession again, but unfortunate to see him walk off. Hopefully he will be okay.
So Andres Cardenas will come in, his 6th appearance of the season. First time that he has stepped on the field for the Tar Heels since September 13th against Duke. Long one, headed down by Thomas. 1 minute to go in the first half. Good job by Agut to step in there and knock that one away, but it will be a goal kick for the Tar Heels.
We haven't called Riley Thomas's name much at all tonight, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that Charleston's attack has been pretty dominant on the right side. So can they look to go on the other side and see if there's areas of opportunity in behind Thomas?
Feels like frequently when Charleston's trying to switch the point of attack to the left flank, as you allude to there, Brianna, that Carolina's done a really good job of stepping in and winning the ball back.
I think that comes from this experience.
Mm-hmm.
Riley Thomas is definitely a leader on Carolina's back line. He organizes the way they step, they drop, they shift.
It'll be a 2-0 lead for North Carolina at the half. They control possession, the shot column, and score twice with Tate Johnson in the 9th and Martine Vician in the 24th. They enjoyed this lead at halftime.
What a commanding lead by the Tar Heels. I think for College of Charleston, can they come back in the second half and play with that conviction and that bite that they have in the CAA? It's going to be a tale of two halves, so I'm interested to see the outcome.
The scoring opened Bay Area late October. Second half underway from Dorrance Field. North Carolina's in the whites, College of Charleston in the red. Cougars team that started their year 6-0, just 1-3-1 over their last 5 games. Trying to earn a road win against an ACC opponent. First ACC win for the program since 2010, if they can complete the comeback tonight. But Keith Wiggins, the head coach of the Cougars, as he mentioned to us, the most important games for his team at this point in the season are the ones played on Saturdays in conference action as they chase a berth in the CAA and ultimately the NCAA tournaments to come. And even if the Cougars aren't able to find 2 goals tonight, even if they can only score 1, make it a slightly closer scoreline, I feel like that would give them a spark headed into conference play in a home game against Northeastern on Saturday.
If I were to bet, I'd say that Ezra White and D'Ambrosio are the ones who are going to have to provide that spark because they have so much talent in the way that they combine with one another and get around the box and look for goal.
The numbers would bear out your theory, Brianna. Ezra White with 8 assists this season. Leonardo D'Ambrosio with 8 goals. White's 8 assists, number 2 in the country at the start of play this week. Riley Thomas on the ball for the Tar Heels. One new face in the game for North Carolina to start off this second half. It's Martin Mai, freshman from Denmark who wears 37 in white. First appearance for him tonight. Trying to get himself in position to receive a pass there. There's Mai, saw some run off the bench against Clemson. He's also played against ETSU and Cal. So we saw Milton Jones get some action in the first half. Now Mai starting out the second half, and these freshmen, you know you have to be pretty good. You know you have to be really fit in order to earn playing time as a true freshman under Carlos Samuano.
You also have to be very good on the ball and composed. So I think this is a system that benefits all players because they grow and they're encouraged to play multiple roles. And one of the players that sticks out to me is Juan Cafaro. He can play on the flank, and now we're seeing him inside of the middle, and he's done a good job getting on the dribble and looking to find his forwards.
Cafaro 4 assists this season, among the leaders in the ACC in that department. Ollie Marshall in goal for College of Charleston. He's been called upon frequently tonight, and even that second goal of the game for Carolina, scored by Vician, came off of a rebound. Marshall had made a nice save, just was unable to play it cleanly, and it bounced right to Vician, who punched it home. Hilly with some hesitation, keeps the ball at his feet. Riley Thomas. Back around for Luke Hilly. Martin Mai. Cafaro. Williams. Sam Williams, long distance rip. Grabbed by Marshall. So we saw the graphic a couple of minutes ago. North Carolina started conference play, and we'll get to the thought in a moment.
Just a wonderful bit of patience here again. Just to look inside, just take that touch and get a shot off. But for Marshall, he was set in place and had no troubles.
So the Tar Heels started conference play 3-0. Big road win against Duke. Home victories against NC State and California. And then even at the start of the season, you had to figure that the 4-game stretch through October was going to define what this team would be as far as their standing in the ACC and the meat of their NCAA tournament resume. Got off to an ominous start with a 3-2 loss against Clemson, but still another road game against Notre Dame this Friday. South Bend not an easy place to get to, so there's some travel involved in that. Now, the Tar Heels do tend to play well against Notre Dame historically, but it's still a tough road test Friday, and then you only see the #1 team in the country in Pitt. You've got a William and Mary road game sandwiched in there as well, and then a cross-country trip for the first time. This is not an easy October whatsoever for North Carolina.
I'd say that's why you're starting to see some of those younger players get on the field and secure some minutes, because the deeper you can make your roster, the more you can split up those minutes so that your players are fresh hitting into those big matchups.
Pitt seems like an absolute machine right about now. I told you Stanford has played 2 home games. They've drawn both of them. One of their wins on the road in ACC play, but still, they're one of the best teams in the entire country. Noah Gold out wide. Tom Wilson. Mikey Saunders, transfer from Belmont. Gets off a cross into the box. And it's touched out by the Cougars for a Carolina goal kick. Ryan Watson got on the end of that. Freshman from Chesterfield, New Jersey.
I think it's pretty cool that he gets to play with his brother. That would be James Watson, who's a junior, also from Chesterfield, New Jersey.
Family affair on the Cougar roster. What that always tells me across any sport is that if there's a set of siblings that are not twins, so they're different years in school, especially if it is a junior freshman, you know, there's a couple academic years there. Shows you how good of an experience the older sibling had that the younger sibling would want to follow.
Absolutely, and as the younger sibling, a lot of times you get to go on the recruiting trip with your older sibling, so you get to see what campuses you do and do not like, and in this case, it seemed like Charleston was a favorable place for them to both end up.
Now, speaking of older siblings, another marquee game in the ACC tonight, another marquee game in the CAA tonight, is the Hassan Pinto Derby between Duke and Elon. And it's tied up 1 apiece, 51st minute action in that matchup of a couple of ranked teams.
As his sister, it was cool to see him play in 2 competitive conferences in the CAA and the ACC with Duke. Both Elon and Duke were 2 talented sides, so it was cool to see him grow over the course of his collegiate career.
Brianna's brother Hassan began his college career at Elon as an undergraduate, had another year of eligibility following his graduation, spent it at Duke in 2019. Those 2 teams play each other annually in non-conference competition. That is a big matchup tonight because we talk about the strength of the CAA and how good Hofstra is. Elon's another team that's having a great year, trying to position themselves to potentially host in the NCAA tournament, something they've done in the past.
As we get into the second half, I would love to see Charleston continue this press, just step up and just get that little spark. I think there's nothing to lose being down 2-0, so if you can force some turnovers higher up the field, maybe it will create some attacking opportunities.
Bouncing ball in front of the goal mouth that was played away for a Carolina corner. And that's been the theme of the night for the Cougars, is just lack of possession of the ball, lack of scoring opportunities.
And over time, it puts the back line under duress because they're forced to continually defend the box and move and shift as a unit and communicate, and that gets tiring over the course of 90 minutes.
Cafaro banged away for Thomas. Tate Johnson into traffic. Squirts free for Williams. Can't strike it cleanly. So no chance for Charleston to maintain some possession here, but you see North Carolina setting up the pressure with Mai and Hilly right at the top of the box.
It looks to me as this ball goes short, they're going to press outside, making it predictable so the rest of the Carolina team can force it to the left side and defend as a unit and swarm the ball.
Charleston able to break some of the pressure, get it across the midline. Leonard's had a second half goal on Saturday. His pass forward. Watson. And a foul called on the Cougars. It's Tate Johnson, the goal scorer, who's down for North Carolina. Clock stopped with 34:15 to go.
We mentioned in the first half how it looked like Carolina was incredibly urgent to push for a third goal. And while you do want to be patient and conservative, can they get that third gear where they are getting that third goal? Because that would really close out the game.
Two 2-0, the most dangerous lead in soccer.
It's hard to go into a half at 2-0 up because if the opposing team gets that first goal in the second half, the momentum usually shifts in their favor. And you have to fight to the final whistle to secure the victory.
Yeah, that statement, an adage that us media types love to use. How true have you found that in your time as a player?
At Carolina, we were renowned to close out the games, but I do think it comes down to the philosophy and the game strategy that we had while we were here. When we went up a goal, we knew how we wanted to go about closing out the game. So, in the final 5 minutes, are we taking the ball to the opposite corner to keep...
Williams took a shot saved by Marshall.
But to keep the other team from creating opportunities late in the game. We're also smart about not fouling because you don't want to concede set pieces near your box. But again, good luck here from Carolina. Sam Williams looks to hit it first time, but just doesn't catch it cleanly. But Marshall does a good job just saving that ball and gaining control.
Career night for Ollie Marshall. 8 saves as North Carolina's peppered him with 17 shots, 10 of them on frame. Had 7 saves earlier this year against both Stony Brook and UNCW, that UNCW game on Saturday. So, been a busy couple of games for Ollie Marshall. Math tells me that's 15 saves across his last 2. Long ball into space. No one in a College of Charleston uniform was there, though. It's a little bit of that pressure you talked about, Brianna. Cougars try and create a deep giveaway.
However, you're seeing just 3 of them, and the rest of the team is 20 yards behind the ball. And there's some space in the midfield that Carolina can easily take so that they can switch the point.
So it's not so much just pushing those 4 forward, it's condensing the 2 lines.
Condensing the space, making sure the back line's getting up, I think they're concerned about the space in behind, so that's maybe why they aren't stepping. But again, it'll create more issues if they don't step as a unit, because midfielders on Carolina are very talented and know how to dictate the tempo. So if they find that space and drive forward, then the back line is really under pressure with those runs in behind.
Subs galore for College Charleston includes the dynamic duo Ezra White and Leonardo D'Ambrosio. Returning to action here. Ty Nero into the game for the first time as well. See Nero on the ball, 6 in red. Another player that came in for the first time, Emil Thiergod, sophomore from Denmark. So 4 sets of fresh legs for Keith Wiggins and the Cougars. So they push to try and pull one back here. Now, North Carolina's substitution. Night is done for Martin Mai, and Martin Vician will return. Vician already with a goal earlier tonight. It's a costly giveaway for the Cougars. Got the ball in the fringes of the box out there. Just couldn't keep it. Cafaro is down. Carolina pushing for their 3rd goal of the night. Tate Johnson opened the scoring in the 9th minute. Martin Vician doubled the lead in the 24th. As North Carolina aims to stay unbeaten in home non-conference games for a 2nd consecutive year. Ross pops up in the air, falls at the feet of Cafaro. Farrell back for check. Cafaro. Ezra White. It's like 2 straight years of North Carolina being unbeaten in home non-conference games. Maybe the first time that that's happened in a decade. 2014, 2015, the last time that went 2 straight years. It's a real testament to Carolina being hard to beat, especially against non-ACC competition and especially at home.
It's also about taking care of business in and out of conference play, because I think your focus switches a little bit. Like, obviously your ACC games are your most important ones because you want to win the regular season title and go on to the ACC championship in the tournament. But for Carolina then to defend at home and on the road against these non-conference teams, you're going to see a lot of different styles of play, which can be challenging at times.
And there have been some draws in there, even this year. A couple of scoreless draws with California Baptist and Mercer. And a 2-2 draw with St. John's, where there was some defensive lapses, but the offense was there to pick up the slack for Carlos Simbuano's team.
This set piece is a huge opportunity for College of Charleston to serve the box and see if they can capitalize on some of the size that they have up front.
It's about 30, 35-ish yards out.
Here you're looking for a whipped-in service that bounces in between the penalty spot and the 6-yard box.
Deception on the restart. Then Saunders serves it in. It's headed on top of the 6. And the offside flag came up there.
I personally wasn't a huge fan of that choice to, then go into the dribble because the angle of the ball in is a little too straight. I think if you can serve immediately from the spot where it was placed for the service, it would be a lot more beneficial and easier for their runners to get on the end of it. Because Tynero is trying to head the ball forward as it's coming from behind him.
You said put the ball between the top of the 6 and the penalty spot, and all of a sudden, by going short, going to the dribble, they still eventually got it there, but on a very different trajectory than if it had been taken directly. Tate Johnson, first collegiate goal earlier tonight. Johnson stepping along the sideline, weaving forward, and taken down. Cougar foul results in a Tar Heel free kick. Not quite as far away from the goal, but similar angle to where Charleston just had theirs a moment ago.
Just a good bit of patience again from Tate Johnson just to drive inside and draw the foul. Because when he takes that touch of separation and goes with speed, College of Charleston has no choice but to take him down.
Williams, top of the 6. We saw North Carolina do what Brianna wanted Charleston to do on their last set piece. And this sequence is going to result in a card coming out. First booking of the night goes to Mikey Saunders. Tate Johnson continues to take a beating this evening.
There haven't been too many reckless tackles here tonight. But this one just is so late, and it catches Tate Johnson on the outside of his leg.
Very late, not in the direction of the ball whatsoever.
But again, Carolina's good on set pieces. This is not really where you want to give up fouls because it's an opportunity for them to serve the box. However, it looks like College of Charleston has way more numbers that will drop into that space that I referred to earlier.
They go direct on goal, played away by Marshall.
Which is clearly why they shot it. Decent attempt there from Vician just to look to that near post and force the save from Marshall. I think it might have snuck on the inside of that front post. Well taken attempt.
That's going down as a shot on goal, I think.
Most definitely, because Marshall is forced to dive for it.
Chris Elliott, who took the now only shot of the game for College of Charleston, substitutes back in. But an alert strike there from Vician. Charleston had the bodies to drop into the space if he was to serve it short. Went straight on goal instead, forced Marshall to make yet another save, continuing his career night. In the intramural fields behind us, a ball is gotten away. Bounced onto the playing surface. That's a hazard for these Tuesday night games because there's recreational activities going on for the student body back there.
The shot must have been well off target, but
That one was not on frame. The shot by Martin Vician a moment ago, on frame. Shot from whoever was playing for, third floor of a dorm's intramural team. Not exactly on frame. Try again next time. Hilly pursuing the ball. Marshall has been way out of his box frequently tonight. At the other end, Elliott. Thomas sends it away into the stands. Oh, good catch by a fan down there.
there's just over 22 minutes left in the second half, so Charleston has a goal. Play with that sense of urgency to try and find that first goal.
There's a good cross, got into the top of the six, but ultimately was cleared out by Carolina. It's a Charleston team that still has one of the top 10 scoring offenses in the nation. 26 goals on the year. That ranks 7th in Division I at the start of play this week. Now those numbers are a little skewed because of the huge scoring outputs early in the season. 4 goals Coastal Carolina, 5 goals USC Upstate, 3 Stetson, 3 Queens, 4 Stony Brook. Since then, last 3 games it's been just 2 goals for College of Charleston. So they're definitely at a point in their season where they have hit a bit of an offensive lull as a team, sustained over a few games. Leonard. Goes for a corner.
We're seeing those attacks start with Noah Gold, who just gets on the ball and sends it out wide. Matt Lerner does a good job just to drive towards that end line and win a corner kick.
Noah Gold in his first year at College of Charleston is a transfer from West Virginia. Ezra White will take this corner. Headed down, right to Cortez. Ty Nero got his head on it. Nearly snuck a bouncing ball past Andrew Cortez. Right there to make the save, though, the steady-handed goalkeeper for the Tar Heels from Denver.
Just a wonderful service and good vertical here from Ty Nero just to get up and over the defender that was checked. He beats to the ball and heads it towards goal.
So it's the first shot of the second half, second of the night for Charleston. Several substitutions. North Carolina bringing Jamison Charles back in. 3 new Cougars coming on. Hogan Walker will re-enter. He started the game. Also, you saw that Ezekiel Emmanuel Goetze, sophomore from Ecuador, is in. So in talking about Charleston's offensive struggles of late, I think that's why if you're the Cougars, you can even get one tonight. Even if it doesn't flip this game into a victory for your team, it gives you that confidence moving forward because, to return to the point, Saturday games are so important for them to qualify for the CAA tournament and build on those postseason dreams that they have this year.
I definitely agree with you. I think that starts with getting quality looks on goal, and right now for College of Charleston, they haven't done a great job getting in behind and forcing Carolina to defend their own box. So again, I'd like to see them just go a little bit longer, unlock a little bit of the speed on the flanks and drive at those defenders and see if they can get some shots off.
Sam Williams gets a shot off. Can't put it on frame, though. Williams scored his second goal of the season. Came from the penalty spot on Friday night.
Sam Williams has found himself in a really good spot several times throughout this game. He gets it on his left foot and has a look across his body to the back post. Off target, but decent attempt given where he was located on top of the box.
Leonardo D'Ambrosio, 8 goals this season for number 10 in red. Switch of play for Hogan Walker. Noah Gold, challenged by Charles. Nero is the safety valve.
We saw D'Ambrosio trying to start that attack there just by getting it and giving it, and doesn't receive it again, and it was wastefully turned over by Ezekiel Emmanuel Goetze.
There's Goetze again on the ball. Wheels it out wide. Thayer God into space. Nice job to keep it. It's Ezra White. 8 assists this season. So good at setting up opposing players. Cross sails in. Cortez will let it go. Leonard with it. Working on O'Farrell. He'll bang it in. Back out for Walker. Sustained build up for Charleston. Leonard sails it high.
I think on the second attempt, Leonard settled for just a little bit of space he had. It was a wild attempt at a cross, but I think, again, he can size up the defender, take a touch at him, force him to back up towards the box, because if he can dribble and drive inside and he wins the box, then Carolina defenders have to be really careful about when they put in a tackle. As we enter these final 15 minutes, can the College of Charleston attackers not settle for just a cross? Can they drive inside and force Carolina to defend them?
There's 2 shots tonight for the Cougars. 1 each half. It's a Charleston team that came in top 30 nationally in shots per game. Granted, North Carolina tonight, definitely the toughest opponent that Charleston has played this season. Check with it. Swarmed by red jerseys. Charlie Harper. Williams for Thomas. Acosta. North Carolina just content to play some keep away here. Johnson and Vician combining. 2 goal scorers tonight on the ground into the box. Opportunity for Hilly. Keeps the ball at his feet. Save Marshall. Ollie Marshall keeping this a 2-goal game.
Hilly receives the ball in such a great space. Can he take a touch and get a shot off there? I think as he adds more touches, that allows College of Charleston to get more players in the direct goal channel and an easy save for Marshall.
10th save of the night for Marshall, his first career game of double-digit saves. Previous career best was 7. Flair got back for gold. Charleston trying to sustain some build-up here. Widened out. Dispossessed by Johnson. Hogan Walker. Nice job by Check. Hilly, another chance here for Luke Hilly.
No gold, just does a wonderful job providing cover. Right when Hilly takes his touch and turns, he's there to swoop in and secure possession again.
Noah Gold has now started every game he's played for the Cougars this year. New player on the back line in his first year coming in from West Virginia. Very successful program in the Sun Belt. Routinely a national contender. Reached the College Cup last year. Long range shot from Leonard. Why not?
Just a good bit of anticipation on that switch ball from midfield. Leonard does a great job just sliding in between the ball and Parker O'Farrell, and he wins that second ball, the 50-50 ball that dropped in the space in front of the back line. And he has a shot, obviously off target, but again, why not, as you said.
Hilly's night comes to a close as Batil Hansen returns. Those folks are on the video board. They recognize it, bundled up. Today, the first day that it really feels like fall here in North Carolina. Temperatures dropped overnight. They were only in the high 60s at kickoff tonight. And now that we are fully into the evening, you need a blanket if you're out there.
I bet both teams have a sense of relief with the temperature tonight because they know what it's like coming into preseason in that August southern weather where it's so hot and you're doing all that fitness to prepare for the season. But to now be in October and the temperatures start to drop, it feels like you can run forever.
Coastal South Carolina in the summer, that is a sauna. What the drop in temperature tells me, though, is that postseason's coming.
The most special time of the year.
Just 5 regular season games remaining for each of these teams after tonight. And of those 5 for both teams, 4 of them are in conference play. North Carolina will head to Northern Indiana on Friday to see Notre Dame. A series that, despite the success of the Irish, that has been very heavily favoring North Carolina, especially of late. Carolina leads the all-time series with the Irish, 6-3-1. 1-1 draw in Chapel Hill last year. Carolina won on the road in 2022. But still, Notre Dame is Notre Dame. They beat Clemson on their home field a couple of weeks ago. Tough test for the Tar Heels Friday night. And after a non-conference game with William & Mary, they will see Pittsburgh, the #1 team in the nation. Jay Vidovich's squad looks absolutely incredible this season. Aiming to make a 3rd trip to the College Cup since 2020. And Stanford. So it is a really tough 3-match stretch in ACC play. Really 4-match stretch in ACC play when you factor in the Clemson game Friday night for North Carolina. Nice long one to Vician, but couldn't settle it down on his feet.
I like that look from O'Farrell just to send one in behind because, you know, that's a touch that Vician brings down majority of the time, but it was a little bit of a heavy touch that goes to Marshall, who claims it in the end.
Watson. Back for Gold. College of Charleston has 2 home, 2 road in their 4 remaining CAA contests. They'll see Northeastern and Hofstra at home. Hofstra's the headliner there, a program that has transcended even success by CAA standards. They have become a national player of late. Reached the round of 16, fell in PKs here in Chapel Hill last year.
Just acres of space that Czech has to attack here.
Long one for Hansen. Hansen couldn't keep it in along the end line.
You could see the thought there from Bertil Hansen. It's a little bit of hesitation and then taking that explosive touch along the end line, but it ends up going out of bounds for a goal kick.
Let's talk about Charleston defensively here. You concede the 2 goals in the first 25 minutes of the game. Since then, North Carolina has had possession. They've had shots. They've had chances. Yet it stayed a 2-0 game, and that's something I think the Cougars can build off of.
Most definitely. Ollie Marshall has had a wonderful night with career-high saves in a game, and I think it's about his positioning and putting himself in a good position to make it difficult for Carolina to score.
Matt Leonard stayed onside. Was able to get off a cross. Ezra White take it away. Matthew Acosta with a nice tackle. Leonard. Goatsy for Walker. Tainero has to chase it back.
Once he plays it back, can he immediately separate and then get it again so they can restart? Because I think that would allow them to get the ball to Hogan Walker, who can then drive up the left side.
It's been a tough night for the Cougars on the build-out. Goatsy has options, chooses Walker to his left. Return for Goatsy. Vician a little slow to get up. Charles played it ahead for Williams. Martin Vician staying down for the Tar Heels. You see him there, left side of your screen, now does get to his feet. More middle of your screen now. Walking gingerly and now moving into a jog. Good sign to see.
Carolina's in the final 4 minutes of this match, and you're just seeing them keep the ball quick in possession, moving to support one another, and they want to show this style of play that they try to play throughout the entire 90 minutes, and by keeping the ball, they're resting in possession.
Tate Johnson with the first goal of his college career, freshman from Florida, scoring less than 10 minutes into the game. far from the first of his career. In fact, the 8th this season for the graduate student Martin Vician in the 24th minute. Vician scoring in back-to-back games for the first time in over a month. North Carolina's held that 2-0 lead since.
Just another showing from Noah Gold just to read that second ball that was chested off of Vician. He just anticipates it and steps in wonderfully.
Vician forward for Tate Johnson, and Johnson beats Marshall for the Tar Heels' third to cap it.
This is an exceptional bit of combination play for the Tar Heels. Bertil Hansen has the final touch to send it home. Bertil Hansen wins the ball, just excellent bit of defensive effort, sends it to Vician, who's the 1-2 combination, and then the first time attempt to send it to the far post. Goal, Carolina.
Second collegiate goal for the freshman from Denmark. Scored off the bench against FIU. It was also a third goal of the season, and this is going to go to VAR. Check and see if there was an offside. So if the call stands, it'll be a goal for Hansen. Let's see here.
I think they're checking up offside, I believe, but clearly onside. Looks like a goal to me.
Beautifully timed run.
You could see the frustration from Marshall because Bertil Hansen, with the finish, megs the goalkeeper.
A nifty finish from Bertil Hansen.
If this is ruled a goal, I think Carolina would have a lot to be proud of. This is exactly how they intended to bounce back from the loss against Clemson. Just a commanding victory that we assume that will happen if the result holds.
Conceded 3 goals in a game for the first time in 2 years on Friday. The manner in which Clemson scored those final 2, the PK, and then the game winner after Carolina equalized on a PK, all in a 4-minute span. Late in that game. The Tar Heels to turn the page, come home here for a non-conference matchup and take care of business against a Charleston team that, you just look at them on film, look at their numbers from this season, and you know they can score. Should get our decision here. And after VAR, it is a good goal, as we predicted. Martin Vician with the assist. That's his first assist of the year. So a 3-point night for Vician. Third time this season that he's had at least 3 points in a game. So Charleston back into CAA play on Saturday. They'll welcome in Northeastern. Their next 2 are at home. Northeastern in conference play, North Florida in their non-conference finale. North Carolina hits the road for their next 2. Notre Dame and William and Mary. Tar Heels number 7 in the human polls this week. RPI sitting right around 13 in the country. If you're in the top 16, you receive a first-round bye in the NCAA tournament, get to play at home. Top 8 means you get to play up to 2 games at home if the bracket holds. Top 4s, the Tar Heels received last year, means you get to play your entire NCAA tournament run at home. Plenty on the line. As for Charleston, this loss likely means now that they will have to win the CAA tournament in order to make the NCAA tournament. A very potent offense that's certainly capable of doing just that.
As they head back into CAA play, one thing I'd like to see from the Cougars is just more sustained possession. Once they win it, can they connect the first pass, get numbers around the ball? Because they started off strong in those opening minutes, but sustaining that performance over the course of 90 minutes is the way they will have success in CAA.
Tar Heels keep the ball on the ground off the corner. Content to play this out. Take a home non-conference victory. They'll complete the non-league portion of the home schedule unbeaten for a second straight year. First time Carolina's done that back-to-back years since 2014-2015. Now 10 seconds of the game. North Carolina struck less than 10 minutes in, entered another by halftime, put through one more in the game's waning moments. Brianna, they looked impressive from start to finish tonight.